Alright, hey guys, Zitoshi here. So I'm gonna walk you guys through an interesting game I played. I think what I'm gonna do is kind of go through the game a little more quickly. I'll talk about some of my thoughts here and there. But then what I'm gonna do after that is actually review where I feel like I made mistakes in this game. Because it was quite a complicated game. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a good learning exercise. So yeah, let's start. And as always, yeah, maybe take a pause here to just think about what the first move you'd make would be. And Sly gets to go first here, so I get the second move. So I guess you can think about if you were Sly, what you would do, and then I'll do another pause before I make my move. So here we go. So Slide goes ahead and steals that blue down there. And now on mine, you can also take a pause to see what you would do here, and then I'll talk through it. So for me, obviously, there is a lot of red on this board, a lot of good red cards, especially with this green one just popping up. So it's pretty obvious for me that I want to steal one of these red cards, and I'm going to go for this bottom one because it's cheaper. We're just taking coins here. And then interesting, Slide takes one off the top, which I did find as an interesting move because there's a lot of good cards on board to steal. So I found it curious that he actually took something off the top. As for me, I go ahead and I steal that red card. I guess, in my opinion, those were always the two best cards on the board. So I was just trying to take an opportunity to get that. And then if Slide doesn't steal a coin there, then I can play that red card right away. So I go ahead and steal that. Kind of luckily, Slide did get one of these great cards off the top, so I was able to play it. And then I play my 2-point red card. He steals this 3-pointer, which makes sense because that's a pretty dangerous position. And now we are moving towards just kind of building gem position. I could have taken a more aggressive route here, by kind of going after this right away. But instead, I am trying to kind of cover both bases by keeping myself open to the noble strategy as well, because that seems like it could be kind of strong. Slide picks up that. So we're both kind of going after the noble strategy right now. Luckily, I pick up that guy. Steal the 6-pointer there, or the 3-pointer there. Again, we're both trying to get to this noble strategy now. It's kind of a race. Takes one off the top. I go for the white there. That was a good one for him. Take the blue there again. We're just racing here. Steals that guy. So yeah, once the game is over, I will slow it down and go over move by move, because that was actually quite a little bit of a critical steal there, because I could have easily bought that card, and it would have made me quite close to completing this guy. Slide just kind of slowly building towards all the nobles here. Pick up that blue. That black. And that opened up this guy, which is pretty bad for me because he was looking for a good blue to follow up on. Picked up the red. And now we also know that he has that white card in his hand, so we've already lost the race here. And that might have been apparent a little while ago. But now I'm just kind of going after this white card here. He is still just building towards nobles. He takes the white card there, finishes his set. I steal the blue card so he can't get to one of these sets. And now we're in this endgame where basically I had thought through how to play this endgame. So one move is obviously just to take this white card here and just build towards it. But I did think that that was kind of risky because opening up a space on the top row is pretty dangerous for me because Sly has three golds and is basically filled up across the board here. So almost anything that comes up, Sly will be able to buy. And if it is a blue card, it's pretty much game over for me. So I thought about it for a while, and I thought, okay, I'll let him buy this one, and I will try to. My end game will be around these cards. So basically, just trying to buy one of these guys and play them into this. So that's why I ended up going for this bottom row card because I was going to try to buy one of these cards and then play into this. Buys that guy, which now is very dangerous for me because now I have to steal this card. And then, yeah, it opens up that guy, which was what I was always worried about. And I lose the game. So, yeah, I thought this was a really interesting game. One, because Sly took this very methodical approach, not really being pressured by my aggression and just slowly building up towards nobles and then winning the noble race. So I thought that was an interesting way to play it. He also made a bunch of really good steals throughout the game. And yeah, so now what I want to do is kind of just go back and look at what different moves I made that I could have made differently in order to win this one. Okay, so we go back to the beginning of the game. I still think it's the right move to take this red card first. I think that's the right move there. And we get to here. One of the moves I could have made instead of stealing this black card is just to play this red card and then follow it up right away by buying this green card. I think it's about making a decision whether or not I'm going to be more aggressive in this game versus trying to go for that noble strategy. And so what I ended up doing was trying to be more aggressive, but in retrospect, I didn't really follow that up. I sort of switched to the noble plan after this red card was stolen from me, which once he took these two greens, it was definitely a mistake for me to steal this green card. I guess, I wasn't quite sure why he was taking the two greens, and if, his plan was to take this green card and go for it, but that was just definitely a mistake. If anything, I should have taken this red card if I was going to steal something. So that was kind of a first obvious mistake that I made, which is too defensive. and it didn't really need to be, especially since I was kind of was going to be leading the aggression at that point in time. So I go to play that. He steals that, which is a good move. I go for this. Play here. And then, yeah, then I go ahead and take this green card here. So that basically slows down my aggression because I could just be playing towards this 7 card. So the moment I make this move, it's kind of like I'm shifting out of being an aggressor to trying to play more of a control style, which is counter my first 7 moves, right? Because if that was the case, I would have played this first rather than that, because going for this first is a more aggressive move. So I go for that, and now I've kind of changed plans here, and so walking through the motions of that. So now that I'm on this path of like, okay, I'm going to go after more of a slower, noble strategy. We go and get some pickup in cards. Obviously, this green pickup is a lucky one for Sly because it completes the set. Obviously, when you're going for a more slower noble strategy, the faster that you can complete kind of all 5, the better you can move across the board. But then I get lucky and I pick up that black card. So at this point in the game, it's kind of clear we're both going after the noble strategy. It's going to be a race to see who can complete nobles first, and that's basically just going to be mostly going to decide the outcome of the game. And at this point, we each have 5 each of each color, 1 of each color. I have 2 points, but Sly has 3 golds, and I'm down, and I've used 2 of my reserved. So at this point in the game, I would say that Sly is actually slightly advantaged, especially if we're going to be racing on the noble side of things, which, given how the board looks now, it's kind of the only strategy to take. This blue card comes up here, and so another mistake that I made is I should have reserved this blue card. Knowing that how pivotal our race to the nobles are, blue is the most important color. It's used in all the nobles here, and so I can just pick it up for 2 black. It's such a good advantage for Sly, and I thought about it for a bit whether or not I should be taking it. I guess I didn't want to use up all my reserves and be fully maxed out because I couldn't even play this right away, which again highlights the mistake of taking this green card. Really just a dead card for me, and not really going to be used anytime soon. And so I didn't pick it up, but I do think that was one of the losing moves. And instead, I play this. Now I play this red card, which I do because I'm trying to sort of open up my reserves, but it doesn't really help me in the race that much. And I'm going to fall behind the race once Sly picks up that blue card. So I basically it's kind of like I tripped there in this race. So now I steal this blue card, obviously recognizing the importance of blue here. Sly wisely steals a card off the top, knowing that if I steal again, I can just play the blue card, and now I'm stuck here on 5 coins. I can't play it. So instead, I have to take this one. Again, it's it's kind of jerky the way that I'm playing this. It's not wise to steal this here, but I kind of did it as a defensive move too, because if Sly picked up that one, you'd just be way too ahead on blues that it will be almost impossible for me to catch up. So now, again, we're just racing towards the nobles here, and yeah, I'm pretty behind. He's got 2 of each here, and I only have 3-1-1, and it's not looking quite easy for me to get to black because of all the green casting needed. So kind of behind. This blue card comes up. And yeah, I have to take it, use my gold coin to take it to stay in this race. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty good steal from Sly, taking that away from me. we're both racing towards here. This blue card comes up, which isn't really that great. I mean, it's good because I'm obviously trying to build towards blue, but having to use up green again is going to put me behind. So one of the potential mistakes is potentially earlier. I could have maybe taken a second green. Seeing the board, I could have taken this one instead. And that could have been a difference maker in this race. As it's going to make it easier for slide too, because there's just a lot of green here needed. And me only on one is making it harder for me to race. I do get to pick up this black card, which is good. And so I'm only one away, but again, I need a black. And the closest one I am is this guy, which is still basically 3 turns away because I don't have that green. And this blue card popping up is great for Sly as well. He also had access to this one up here. And he's holding all 5 gems here. So it's making it hard for me to steal as well. And so I've basically lost the race because he has that white card in his hand, and then he's got access to these here. So I've lost the race for this noble, but I'm still very much alive. I mean, I'm obviously ahead in the race for this noble. So that's another option there too. I guess another thing I didn't really consider in this game was also going after this noble, but I mean, in my eyes right now, I have this in my hand and I'm going after this guy. So he takes that, I fill up here, and here is another extremely pivotal mistake that I made here. So what I should have done is I should have picked up 2 coins here. I should have picked up the green and the black. And what that does actually is it threatens me completing this noble. Yeah, so what it does is it threatens me completing this noble by picking up this green card. And so Sly basically has to react to that and complete his noble. And so he can either do that by playing the white card in his hand or buying this white card out here, which would basically cost him 3 golds and a bunch of his resources here. Instead, I played this blue card. Gave him basically another turn to build up, so he was able to buy that green. What I also could have done here, actually, and might have been the right play, is just to have saved this white card, even though I'm not going to get a gold, because it's just so important to me. It's worth 6 points to me. And I didn't actually expect Sly to take it, which he correctly did. I should have anticipated that, but I did not. And then once we get to this portion of the game, there isn't really anything I can do. I've basically lost already. So yeah. Yeah, I thought this was a really interesting game to review, and a lot of learnings for me as I think about the mistakes that I made and why I made them. Yeah, I would also encourage you guys to review your games in a similar way. It really helps to identify certain weaknesses you have. And it's this interesting thing where obviously when you're in the game, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how things are going to play out. And it's obviously easier to say what's a mistake when you look back and see what happens. But by seeing how a game plays out and then looking back, it sort of gives you this intuition while you're playing the game. That helps you try to think about how end games might play out and what moves feel like better moves than others. I've been actually relying on that quite a bit. It's just feeling out, does this feel like it's going to be a really good move, even though I don't know what's coming up. And me reviewing these games helps me get that experience to know that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any more ideas on how I could have played differently in this game. I always enjoy when you guys do that. And yeah, let me know what other type of videos you'd like to see. All right, take care, guys.